Welcome to today's class. My name is Nsikan Ikbe, and today we'll learn how to create resource group in Microsoft Azure Portal. All right, let's head to the portal, portal.azure.com. So here we are. Well, by the way, why do we have to create resource group and then create resources within the resource group? It helps you to manage your resources. And in the case of the provisioning your resources, you can just do that easily by deleting the resource group. So it helps you to also monitor your costing, also manage your cost management, monitoring your resources, and also other settings and even policies. You can apply a policy to the resource group and it affects only the resources within that resource group. So that's the advantage of having a resource group in your portal. When you want to create resources, always try to arrange your resources in resource groups. All right, let's start by clicking on resource group. Click on this. Yes, so you see resource groups. Take note of this. All right, so you click on this create. I click on create. Let's see. Yes, so you have they say a resource group, a container that holds related resources for an Azure solution. Some places you will see things like it holds dependent resources. All right. Okay. So the first thing you have is you have to make sure you apply a particular subscription that you want to use for that resource group. For this purpose, we're going to maintain this subscription and then give your resource group a name. So let's call it our first class resource group. All right, I call it RG. You can call it anything you want to call it, as far as is something you can remember, okay, or you're comfortable with. So we'll leave it as this is US, okay. Then next thing, tag. For now, we won't talk about tags. Let's leave tag. Click on next. Wow, so we have validation passed. This is very important. You can't skip this. If what you are typing or what you were doing previously were not correct, you won't have this validation passed. All right. Okay, let's take for instance, let's go back. Let's just go against the rules. All right. So the rule says resource group names can only include alphanumeric underscores, parentheses, hyphen, period. All right. So let's assume that I didn't care about what the warning was. All right. And I click on this. I click on create. You see, validation failed. Required information is missing or not valid. All right. So what do? You go back. We go to the previous one, and then we get the right thing done. So I will just put underscore is accepted. Next. Validation pass. See what I told you about? Validation pass. So with this, we can create our resource group. One more thing, you can see this download a template for automation. That means you have a set of input you've made and you don't want to repeat the task. You want to make it very easy for you to always create your resource group with the same parameters. So you simply download a template. You click on download template, you download the template. All right, and then just save it on your system. That will just by the way. Okay, so that's it. We go back and then we click on create. You create it. It shows you creating resource group, our first. Once that is done, okay, resource group created. So you click on go to resource. Now here is what I told you. There is no resources. They said no resources match your filters. That means in this our first class group yet. So let's say we want to create something. Let's click on create. All right. Let's click on create. Create virtual network. I'll just type it in the marketplace, virtual network. All right, and I click on virtual network. I don't need this. So I'll see virtual network gateway. Everything that has to do with network will come up in the search. So you have to decide what you want, and I need this. So I'll click on create virtual network. All right, so I have create and I click on it. Just like we are creating our resource group, you also have to apply a subscription to this. So I click on the subscription, our first class resource group and all of that, and I just give our virtual network a name. Let's say ABC blah 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 blah, just for the sake of showing you what I'm doing. Let's just click create. We don't have much input to make. We'll still have a class on virtual network. All right, I click on create. So initializing deployment. All right, so submitting deployment. Okay, just to explain to you what I meant by dependent resources in a resource group. So we have our deployment in progress. All right, succeeded. So let's go to resource. So you have this virtual network, but then where is the virtual network? The resource group is called our first class resource group. Now, should I want to deprovision this virtual network and everything, I simply go to the resource group. I don't have to deprovision all the resources in the resource group one after the other. So what I simply do, I go home, for instance, and this is our resource group. I click on it and I click on delete. But before then, see what I mentioned earlier. It helps you manage automation, monitoring, cost management, settings, resource visualization, tags, and all of that. All right, you can monitor your activity on this activity log, all within that resource group. So for now, I want to delete the resource and all the dependent resources. So I click on delete resource. It will ask me to type. Now, why is it asking me to type this? Just to be sure that I really meant to delete it. All right, it keeps you conscious. All right, so you simply come here, copy this, and click here, paste. That's a lazy way to delete this. You can go ahead and type if you have all the time. All right, so I'll click delete. There's a warning here. Deleting this resource group and its dependent resources is a permanent action and cannot be undone. This is what is important to me right now. Dependent what? Resources. And in this case, what's our dependent resource? That is the virtual network. That means deleting this our first class resource group also means deleting all the resources, dependent resources, of which the one we have here is what? Virtual network. So I'll go ahead and click delete. All right. So you can see this information, deleting resource group, our first class resource group. Everything in that resource group, assuming we had 1,000 dependent resources, everything will be deleted. That's very simple. Rather than deleting 1,000 resources one after the other, that's stressful. All right. Okay, so I hope today you enjoyed our lessons on how to create a resource group and the importance of having a resource group in your Azure portal. Thank you.